I haven't done a movie review in a long time, and I want to talk about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And I remember when I was a little kid, I was about 10 years old, I guess, or 9, when the first Raiders of the Lost Ark Indiana Jones movie came out. It just had a big impact on me. I just loved Indiana Jones. In fact, I was kind of drugged to the movie theater. I didn't want to go watch this movie. At my age, it's like I couldn't understand that film. I wasn't interested in it. I watched it, and it just blew me away from the opening scene as a kid. It had this huge influence on me. And of course, you have now this is the 5th Indiana Jones movie, and you also had the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, which I thought was actually it's a good part of the Indiana Jones series. It's often overlooked, but Harrison Ford actually appeared in one episode. So I think that there's let's look at the movies. Raiders of the Lost Ark is a classic. Temple of Doom, a little darker turn, it's still a good film. And then we have The Last Crusade. I think that people are kind of disappointed with Temple of Doom because of its darkness, but The Last Crusade kind of returned to a more biblical artifact, and it returned to what made the original Indiana Jones movie Raiders of the Lost Ark more compelling. And then we had The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and not bad, but it wasn't. The problem with the Crystal Skull, I think, was the type of artifact that Indiana Jones is going there. Of course, there are these skull symbolisms, and there are purported crystal skulls out there. Scholars question their authenticity, but there have been claims that crystal skulls were discovered by archaeologists. But like I said, there's a lot of dispute and controversy, which is addressed in the movie. So that's something that's out there, right? There is an Ark of the Covenant. The Shivalingas are a real thing. There's the stories of the Holy Grail. This is something that's part of history and culture. It's not something they made up for the movie. Same thing with the Crystal Skull. There's some, conspiracy theories, if you will, but anyway, there's ideas about the Crystal Skulls out there. But the thing is, it's like the previous artifacts were like religious relics that Indiana Jones is searching for. Here you have, instead of a supernatural, spiritual component, you have a science, a alien, UFO alien component, which is kind of doesn't. It was okay, but it just didn't really seem to fit with other Indiana Jones films very well. I think it's kind of unfortunate that they didn't immediately pick up into another Indiana Jones movie, because now, I don't see any way possible for them to do another Indiana Jones movie. Harrison Ford is frail. He just can't do it. And I liked The Dial of Destiny. If I was going to give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, I'd give it a thumbs up. But let's look at some of the problems. One is his insufferable goddaughter. This is something Disney does, is you have the Mary Sue characters, the strong female character, if you will. In some ways, I don't mind her. She's kind of insufferable, but the problem with her is she seems to be like into the illegal antiquities market. She doesn't seem to have a moral center to her. She's trying to take this artifact and just sell it to the highest bidder. That's not very heroic. I'm going to have spoilers in here, so if you don't want to hear spoilers, you can't review this movie properly without giving spoilers out. So Saul is in New York as a cab driver, and I think, I think it's not good to take Saul out of his setting. I guess, here he is, this great, archaeologist in Egypt, and he gives all that up to be a cab driver. I guess people do that in New York City. That's all he does in the movie is Indiana Jones cab driver in New York. I think that's not utilizing the character, strong. I've heard some Arabs complain about that. Oh, there's all these negative Arab stereotypes in movies, and here you have a strong, heroic character, and you just reduce him to a taxi driver when he's actually the best digger, in Egypt. So it's good to see Sallah in there. I wish they utilized him some more, and I don't think that's a good idea to have him. It's good to have him seen in the movie, but I think they could have done more with the character. Of course, Mutt is killed off screen in Vietnam. He joined the war, and he goes, it's one thing, I got mixed feelings about that. I think that's unfortunate that you get rid of a character like that. He had a lot of potential. I know he got Shia, and there's all that controversy about him and his, emotional problems. And they could have recast the part, I think there's a lot of potential with the character of Mutt. So they kill him off screen. He goes to the Vietnam War and dies. But the fact of the matter is that is an experience many people have of soldiers dying and an only son dying. I've known people that have dealt with that loss, and it's just the way of the world sometimes. But you need to acknowledge this is a reality that people experience. But this is a fantasy, and going to movies should be kind of an uplifting experience overall. And when I left the movie, and as a fan of Indiana Jones, I could look at the movie. I like it, right? But somebody's just going to see the movie to have a diversion, to have a good time. It's kind of a bummer, right? You see this old hero, and he's washed up. He's a sad, old, broken man, and it's just depressing, right? Don't you want to go to the movies for a positive experience? Since that's kind of sad. But I thought the story was good. You had the time travel thing. I thought that was kind of cool, where you have the Antikythera device. Now that's a real thing. It's not a time machine like in the movie, or it's not a machine that finds fissures in space and time. It's a very complicated computer from that time frame, and scholars have put it together. It looked like clumps of metal, but using our modern technology, they've been able to reconstruct the Antikythera device, and it's a computer from 200 to 300 years before the time of Jesus, and they have not even figured out everything that it does. Speaking of Jesus Christ, they have the spear of destiny, the spear that pierced the side of Christ, and they say, "Oh, this is not the real spear of destiny. This is a replica, a 50-year-old replica." One of the original ideas put out for an Indiana Jones movie was the spear of destiny, and I think it's unfortunate. Now, I mean, since this is the end of World War II, and they had found the Spear of Destiny, this is a fake one. That kind of ends opportunities to have an Indiana Jones story with the Spear of Destiny, unless they do it after World War II. I guess they could still do, maybe after World War II, a few years, he could go after the Spear of Destiny if they ever do anything else with Indiana Jones. But I think this movie is sort of killing the franchise. It's like a death knell. Even though the thing they should have done is to leave it on a positive note. And also, you should leave your options open for storytelling, right? You don't want to kill off a character that you could use, if you recast the role of Indiana Jones, you don't want to end your potential for storytelling. But at the end of the movie, they should have had short rounds show up, and maybe Mutt, hey, I wasn't, MIA as in a POW camp. I escaped. I'm back. Because it's sad. He's got Marion, but he has, they lost their only son. They're just by them, early in the movie, she's leaving him over the death of Mutt. So they reconcile, but it's like, what kind of future does Indiana Jones has? I guess he has Sala, his kids and grandkids around. Helena might be around, but it's kind of sad, He's going to die without his own family. They needlessly killed off Mutt, and the movie ends, and it ends kind of a sad and tragic note. So what happened is when he goes in the past, he's like, I don't have anything to live for. Why go back? I'll just stay here in the past. You go home, just leave me here, and I'll die. I have no future. Anything to look forward to and with hope towards the future. His father died. Marcus died. His son died. And what is he left with? Sad, just sadness, and that's that's how the movie ends. Indiana Jones, he's reconciled with Marion, but a sad, broken man brought back against his will. She punches him out, and I guess puts him on that plane, and they go back to the portal, the fissure in space and time before it closes. I think it's kind of a cool thing for Indiana Jones actually to go into antiquity and meet these to actually, instead of just reading about history, experience it. To actually, that's what archaeology is doing, is to reconstruct the past, right? So I thought it was kind of neat for Indiana Jones to actually go back and interact with an important historical figure in ancient times like that. So, in conclusion, if you like Indiana Jones movies, you should like Indiana Jones: The Dial of Destiny. They also had this black CIA agent. They had her killed. It's like, that's kind of a cool character. Why are they killing off good characters for no reason? It doesn't help the story along. And these are characters, if they didn't kill them, they could be utilized. But Harrison Ford like has a scene with his shirt off, and he's all old and shriveled up and wrinkled, and um, it's sad. It's sad to see a broken, washed up Indiana Jones, honestly, and then to end a lot of narrative opportunities, closing the doors on future stories that they could have in the future. And I was thinking, it's like, well, could you do an Indiana? Well, they killed off Mutt and you have Helena. Helena is not an appealing. Could they use her again in another film? Maybe. If you have Mutt, you could bring back Mutt and Helena, or even Short Round. Bring back Short Round. I don't know why they didn't bring back Short Round. That would have been a good thing to do, especially since he's one of the actors won an Academy Award. He's starting to have his career's picking up, but they're making narrative decisions that limit their narrative opportunities for the future storytelling for some reason. But yeah, it's sad that this is the end of the Indiana Jones series. It's such a closing, like, that it doesn't seem like there's going to be much opportunities for future storytelling, unfortunately. And Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford. There's not a lot of fisticuffs in this movie. I think he had like one scene, and he threw a punch wrong, and he was out of like 6 weeks. Couldn't do any filming with the lead role because he's old and frail, and it shows in the film. So I just think it's unfortunate. They waited too long to make the movie, and I think it's a mistake to kill off Mutt and this feminist character. She's not terrible. I could endure her, but not the most appealing character. And if she wasn't like selling, they had Indiana Jones he's trying to get he's going to trade the urn of Narachi for the diamond, so he is involved in some of that. But later on in the movies, it's like this belongs in an archaeology. Another thing that's kind of sad, but it's realistic. Indiana Jones is trying to teach archaeology, and the students don't care. They're teaching history and archaeology, and they don't care. That's sad too, but I think that's true to life. Unfortunately, it's like trying to create passion and interest in our common humanity and our history, where we came from, these great civilization and empires of the past, and the students don't care. Helena is there, and she's like, he didn't recognize her because he hadn't seen her in a long time. But yeah, if you like Indiana Jones, check it out. Like I said, it's not a bad movie. I liked it in some ways, but I think it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate how they end the series like this way, where they close the doors towards more opportunities in storytelling, sadly. And now with this, I don't think there's any going back. It's very, very unlikely, and the movie's not doing doing very well in the theaters. It's because people are getting tired of this, all this radical feminism and woke stuff. Even though I don't think it's that bad in the movie, people are just getting tired of it, tired of what Disney's doing. Disney's losing millions, tens of millions, probably hundreds of millions of dollars with this left-wing tripe, and also the attack on masculinity, attack on strength. Maybe that's what they're trying to do subtly here. Is here you have this man, Indiana Jones, a bold, brave, strong, courageous man, a manly man, and you show him weak and tired and broken. Maybe that's a subtle attack on masculinity. So he's old, but he goes on one adventure. I guess he does as well as he can, but I just think they could have done a better job in this movie. Even though, like I said, I'm not giving it a thumbs down, I'm giving it a thumbs up. But that's from an Indiana Jones fan. So if I didn't really care about Indiana Jones one way or the other, I might not have liked the movie. It's hard to say, but I think it's a good but flawed and unfortunate approach to the history. And I think it's, in a way, sadly, like I said, I enjoy the movie. It's kind of tarnishing his legacy in a sense. I'm just being objective as an Indiana Jones fan. And like I said, I didn't hate the movie. I liked it. I thought the concept, the Antikythera, and the train, the beginning scene. Like I said, I liked that. The Nazi plunder train, and because that stuff really happened. They made the Monuments Men and things about the Nazis stealing and hoarding art and antiquities. So that's also true to life. I thought the de-aging scenes looked pretty good. That was the first roughly 30 minutes of the movie. It also connected with the rest of the film very well. But even then, I take issue with them dismissing The Spear of Destiny, which has potential to be a great Indiana Jones story. And that's something that apparently there's that legend of the Spear of Destiny, from the Bible, from Parsifal, these Germanic legends about the Spear of Destiny, and operas by Wagner, and the Nazis actually trying to go after that artifact. I don't know why they closed the door to the story about the Spear of Destiny. So even in the best part of the movie, it's like, why would you pass up an opportunity, great storytelling with it? That's a great MacGuffin, and you're just gonna. You know what it's like? It's like the beginning of the Last Jedi when Luke just takes the lightsaber and just chunks it over his shoulder. It's like, what would you do that for? Do you know what that means? You know who Luke Skywalker is? So I don't know. It's sad. This is the consequence of a radical left-wing Disney, corrupting this great franchise of Star Wars and also of Indiana Jones, sadly. George Lucas made a big mistake in selling all these products to Disney. But honestly, they should have worked on... I guess that the Crystal Skull didn't live up to people's expectations, and there was uncertainty about how to move forward, and then Shia LaBeouf, whatever his name is, Shia LaBeouf, whatever, how you pronounce his name, he started having problems that, reflected negatively on him and the franchise. So the opportunity is lost. They probably should have already made another Indiana Jones film. This is a good Indiana Jones film. It's just not didn't reach its full potential. And like I said, it's a sad ending for the Indiana Jones saga.